Right, I think we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to LOI TV, joined by a few of the lads. Obviously, today was the World Cup draw ahead of the 2002 World Cup in Qatar. We were drawn with Portugal from pot one, Serbia from pot two, Azerbaijan from, what was it, Luxembourg pot four?
Luxembourg from pot four.
Luxembourg pot four, and Azerbaijan from pot five. Initial thoughts, that's...
Yeah, so I think like initially when we were watching it during the draw and we seen that we got Portugal and Serbia, which is like it's not ideal, but I think at the same time like none of the teams that we were potentially going to get they were all going to be hard. Like there was never going to be like an easy draw, like especially for pot one is a given. It's going to be a tough team. To get Portugal, I think is actually like it's interesting because we never played Portugal. I mean, I've never remembered playing Portugal. Like, so we get to see Ronaldo. Hopefully, probably his last World Cup qualifying campaign. Well, it would be. I mean, the guy would be like 46 if he did it again. Like, so, like it would probably be his last World Cup. To get him seen, like he'll come to Dublin, which would be class. Like, Serbia are a decent team as well. A few of their players are getting kind of older. Well, I mean, they have Jovic and stuff who's younger, and I think it's Milenko Savic or whatever. I can't pronounce his name. Good
player, I think Lazio or something, isn't he? Or
yeah.
Something.
So I mean, they've got a few good young players, but at the same time, like I mean, out of all the teams in pot two, I mean, you could.
I think they're one of the ones you'd accept.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you take it, and then I think from pot four, I think Luxembourg is a brilliant draw for us. I think, like because out of all the teams in pot four, you pick them. It's not far travel. We should beat them home and away. Wood, like
because you can get a Georgia in there or something like that, which the tough that's away going is tough, like so.
Especially with having Azerbaijan in pot five, like I mean, we're gonna have like that's the one long journey we're gonna have to do, which is it's shit, but like at least it's not like you have to go to Georgia and then the next international break you'd be going like fucking Azerbaijan and one of these places, like so. I think it's okay, like it's what we expected, really, you know.
Yeah, I agree with Griff. Like, could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot worse. I think it's a fair draw. Times like these, it's easy to like clutch its draws and just like put all your eggs into one basket and just I hope you get a good draw. Like that's our only chance. But looking at the pots, like pot one, you're always going to get a difficult team from there. Obviously, pot two, Ross was saying earlier, you could have drawn Slovakia or Romania. Could have fancied them, but Serbia fourth last seeds in pot two. So yeah, tough side. We're going to at least need to pick up a result versus them. Ourselves in pot three and pot four. Luxembourg, the lowest seeds in there. So yeah, that's a super draw because we've had previous dire results against Georgia. So Luxembourg, not too far to travel as well. And Azerbaijan, a long trip. But yeah, you take it.
They've invested a lot in their money recently, Azerbaijan, I think, haven't they? A lot of money in football, even actually. Like,
for sure.
That stadium in Baku and stuff was.
Yeah, and the Europa League final last year was a big part of that. They seem to be investing a lot of money into their like underage structures. So I won't talk like I know a lot about like Azerbaijan or Luxembourg underage football because I don't.
Probably haven't seen the fruits of like the investment just yet, like you wouldn't imagine.
Sure, we're still waiting on that too. But yeah, 2 or 3 games in March, and then a few like next summer, and then next winter. So all looking forward to working March.
What about you, Liam? What did you think of
it? It's a hard group. Obviously, Portugal be strong favourites. Obviously, they'll probably have a walk. They'll probably walk the group with the likes of Bruno and everything.
It's frozen there a bit, I think.
But
oh no, it's good.
Yeah, it's frozen for me there. But I think the likes of could probably beat Serbia, like Scotland beat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On our maybe on one of our good days we could beat Serbia. I don't know.
Haven't been so common recently, but
then like the rest of them, Azerbaijan should be a few easy wins there. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
But like you're able to qualify. Like look at Northern Ireland trip. They have a really tough one. They have Italy, Switzerland, Bulgaria, Lithuania. Like that's probably a tougher group than Ireland. You know what I mean? So
that's definitely. definitely. Yeah, no. In terms of if pot one, you're never going to get anything particularly nice from that. Like, I don't think there's any nice alternatives, really, wasn't there? Not. I mean, Portugal can sometimes be a little bit flimsy. The odd time, you might see a qualifier where they get like a shock result, goes like where they drop points, or whatever. So, I feel like if you can get in like their face a little bit, potentially, we could get a point at home. I don't think we'd be getting anything out in Portugal now. But I think at home, if you make the game tough, but that's the thing. Does Kenny's style of play work into the likes of Portugal's favour, that we're trying to match them playing player for player kind of thing, instead of getting men behind the ball? We're trying to play football. I don't know. It's still gonna be very early into the rain.
It'd be interesting to see if he like adapts towards the team. He's playing like obviously will go full force and stick to his plan, like passing, attacking football 100%, playing the likes of Azerbaijan and Luxembourg, but he might be a little bit more cautious against the likes of Portugal. It'd be interesting to see if he like goes 3 at the back or 5 at the back, whatever he does. If he adapts to like the team he's playing. So I think Portugal's gonna be very tough. In terms of Serbia, and looking a little bit more at them, I think you mentioned, Griff, that a couple of their players are getting older. Like Dusan Tadic will be must be in his mid-30s nearly by that time they come around the games.
Yeah.
Nemanja Matic similar, Kolarov will be similar. I think Mitrovic is the type of striker that kind of suits Shane Duffy. If you get me, like in terms of he's not going to run in behind him, he's going to look to hold the ball up and win headers and stuff. So I don't think that's particularly frightening. I don't know.
I don't think even when they played Scotland, I don't think they're like, they've got good few players. Jovic has kind of been like outcast in Serbia at the moment because he broke coronavirus restrictions, and then there was like rumors he was going to go to prison and all this, like, cause they want to set an example for him. So I don't think, even he's had a poor season. He played badly for Real Madrid as well. He's barely got the team. So even though he's still definitely a talented player, like, I think maybe there's a lot of like anxiety around the national team at the moment. Like, they didn't qualify for the Euros when they probably should have. Like, they probably like on paper had a stronger team than Scotland. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I do think it's going to come down to probably us versus Serbia. You know, like in those games, like the home and away games, it's probably going to come down to those 2 games. I don't think, like realistically, I don't. Again, I'm going out on a limb here, but I don't see us dropping points home and away against Luxembourg. Azerbaijan, maybe we could drop points away, but we shouldn't be losing them at home. Portugal will lose them away. I think that's probably a given. But at home, maybe if you see like, you know, us grab a point or something, that'll be huge result. But like, possibly, it's going to come down to basically who drops more points. I think just the silly games, like
it's the away games with the bottom 2, and then
you know what I mean. Like you could see, hopefully, if we go over to Serbia or Azerbaijan, get a win, they go over, they drop 2 points. Like, it's going to come down to those games, really. So I think it's going to be pretty tight, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking, because is it 8 out of the 10 or 12 best second place teams or something like that go into the playoffs? So you need to do well in your second. So say if we even like get second, but we drop points to an Azerbaijan or something, and still get second, then we might not even like be one of the highest ranked second place teams if we lose to Portugal twice as well or something like that. So it's crucial that we win both of the games against the bottom 2, definitely, and then. It's going to be, you have to try. Maybe I think it might come down to goal difference and stuff. That could be even crucial against Portugal and stuff.
For sure. You seen under Mick when we were scraping 1-0 wins against Gibraltar, the likes of Georgia as well. Playing the likes of Luxembourg, Azerbaijan, you'd want to rack up good scores, not only for the goal difference but for the morale of the team. Like, like some of those days
struggling for goals under Mick so far as well.
Yeah, like some of those days we were leaving the Aviva. Just saying, like, that was brutal. Like, after scraping 1-0 versus Georgia or 2-0. It'd be really important. And them first 2 or 3 games in March would be really important, just to lay down a marker. And because there's such a gap between the international breaks, it's really important, especially after such a dire Nations League campaign, to get off to a good start in March.
Wait, is the first game back going to be a qualifier, or will it be friendlies or something?
No, I think March. I think March the qualifiers. There won't be any friendly.
I wouldn't mind another friendly or 2 with like a full squad. Would have been nice.
If you get like a Luxembourg home game or something out of the way.
True.
You know what I mean?
No, it's gonna be Portugal away. Like,
But then again, if it is Luxembourg at home and we struggle in the first game back, we might not score too many goals. Whereas if it's a Portugal away, we're kind of going to lose anyway. Well, like that'd be the idea behind it. So I don't know. It's hard to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Upon looking at the group, lads, what type of pressure do you think is on Kenny, in terms of what he needs to deliver in this group?
I think it's. Yeah, I'm not sure if we should even be talking about pressure at the moment.
I mean, in terms of like expectations, like what, like if he comes say fourth in this group, is it time to go kind of thing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or
Possibly,
third even.
I like me personally, I'd really like to give him the like Euro 24 qualifying campaign too. I think if we get rid of Mick after this, get rid of Kenny after this campaign, we'll just be like back to square one before the 24 campaign.
Well, I'm saying, say if we see like no progress from the recent Bulgaria game, they're the type of performances we're seeing throughout the whole campaign. Like, do we still need to kind of give him time and kind of believe in the project, or is it? I don't know. It's tough. Like, I don't know.
Like ideally, I'd like to say but like if there's 3 losses in March, there'd be big questions. Usually I'm always an optimist, but usually I have to bring myself back down to earth. And there's no doubt there's pressure on in March. Get a few good early results, and second and third at least. I know third won't qualify us, but like we can't be letting Azerbaijan or Luxembourg come ahead of us in the group. No chance.
Wouldn't want to be letting them in ahead now, to be honest. We have a comment here from John Knox. I think Serbia are miles ahead of Ireland in every aspect.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. I'd agree definitely in terms of like football. They've got way better players. They're a better footballing team. However, like it does like we've had campaigns before where we haven't had good football teams. There've been like even when we qualified for like Euro 2016 stuff, like we didn't have a particularly great team, and there was other teams in our group better than us. But I think it does come down to sometimes grinding out like those kind of away games, whatever. If we go to like over there and get a draw and then come back here and then get a win, do you know, like it's fine margins. That's the thing. It's you only play each team twice. It's so it's going to come down to fine margins. It's going to take a bit of luck as well, I think. But I'm optimistic enough, like, you know,
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I do. But they're a better football team. There's no doubt. And if things don't change, like even just touching back on what Sacco said, like there's going to have to be questions asked. If like I'd say if you don't get 3 points or 6 points off both Azerbaijan and Luxembourg, there'll be trouble. I think. Do you know?
Yeah.
I think Kenny needs he hasn't yet to have a full squad to pick from. Like, you know what I mean? That has a huge play in his form and everything like that. But I think personally, like the likes of Hendrick and stuff, if you're gonna do another campaign with them, like you have to at least give them to 2024, because you have then like Jason Knight will hopefully be very much like a well-rounded player, like some Malumbi. Hopefully they'll be the future. So you'd have to I think 2024 is where we should be going with Kenny.
Yeah, it kind of leads into another thing I was going to ask you was about what kind of players do you see him using? Do you think the likes of Hendrick, Duffy, Randolph, obviously because with Kelleher now playing for Liverpool and showing he's really, really kind of a challenge Randolph now. What kind of players do you think he will opt for? Will he look towards a bit more youth, maybe potentially for this qualification process, or will it be another one after that? Do you think?
I think there's going to be a focus on young players, because obviously you have the kind of older players in the team, like who have already qualified for tournaments, you know, and you've got Shane Duffy who's kind of on his way out now. He hasn't had a good season for Celtic, but I'd say, in my opinion, bringing the young blood, bringing like Darragh O'Shea, you know, playing at Premier League level, you know, wants to prove himself, never qualified for a tournament. Like same with Kelleher as well. You know, Kelleher, I mean, hopefully between now and March gets more game time. And just, you know, if he keeps 2 games for Liverpool in the last week, 2 clean sheets, you know, what more can you ask of him, really? Like, so I'd say, you know, bring in more young blood, obviously mix that with like a good bit of experience. But I think there are players like even like the Jeff Hendricks and stuff. Like you have players like like Jason Knight, who should be playing ahead of Jeff Hendrick. There's not a doubt. Jason Malumbi as well. Like all these players that should be playing in centre mid ahead of Jeff Hendrick. So I do think there probably will be a focus towards young players, and I like to see it. Because even if there's not, even if we don't get the results and we don't end up qualifying, I'd rather, give young players, the qualification experience, like they've got
Definitely.
like a ball under their belt, like so they're like by the next time when 2024 comes around, they've more experience, So
they're seasoned on the international stage. Like, it'd be great to see, and it will definitely benefit us for the next qualifying campaign then as well. Because even like the likes of McLean and stuff, you just feel like their days are probably coming towards an end. Obviously, they're good to have within the squad as well, I suppose, the likes of McLean and stuff like that. Because I think it was at Luxembourg away, might have been a different country now, but I think he might have scored twice in like a 3-1 win or something recently. I think it might have been Luxembourg or something, but I can't remember who it was. But McLean can just sometimes dig out of a hole. But lads,
McGeady scored against Georgia.
McGeady scored against, that's another one as well.
That balance between like youth and experience would be really important. Like, especially trying to get a result against Serbia, you'd like to think that we play like more youth versus Azerbaijan and Luxembourg, but maybe more experienced players versus Serbia. But another important thing is for those type of players, Knight, Malumbi, Connolly, Parrott, Adamida, to get good game time between now and March. Obviously Randolph still on the bench for West Ham. Kelleher doing, I know it's only 2 games, but well for Liverpool. It's important, players like that. There was a lot of players that came into some stages of 2020 like without having played a lot of minutes, like Callum O'Dowd, Robbie Brady coming into the team when like no minutes under the belt. So hopefully Irish players can get some good form between now and March.
Yeah, definitely. Last thing, predictions. Where will we come in the group?
First.
I'm gonna go fourth. No, I don't know. It's going to be either second or third, realistically.
Yeah.
Third probably.
Yeah. If you're being realistic, you have to say third, but you have to.
But we're League of Ireland channel. We have to say second, like.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. You have to have a bit of belief in boys in green.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of belief. But lads, nice one.
Thank you.
If you did enjoy the stream, guys, make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe as well. We'll probably have another video, a few videos coming out about Ireland over the next little while and stuff. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And